I realized, that AI isn't just an add-on to cloud. It's redefining what's possible. Technology is always changing, and it's always going to change really fast. And if you're not willing to keep learning, you are going to be left behind. Your biggest enemy and your biggest friend, both are your mind. You are just limited by the risks that you take or not take.
So, hey, what's up? Today on Tech Barvachan with Mohit, we have Aditya Sawant, Senior Solution Specialist at Microsoft and a cloud transformation expert. With a decade of experience at Microsoft, Google, and VMware, he has helped businesses scale with AI and cloud solutions. Let's deep dive into his journey and insights on the future of cloud computing. Sir, every person has some defining moment that shape their life. I would like to know what were some pivotal moments in your 14-year journey in the tech industry.
Mohit, thank you so much for having me. Firstly, really glad to be here. So, just to begin with, there have been quite a few moments that shaped my career. So, one of the biggest was leading large scale cloud transformation projects at Microsoft, VMware, Google, and many other such companies. Uh,
Mhm.
Being a part of multi-million dollar deals and helping businesses reimagine their infrastructure was a huge learning experience. Um, Another defining moment was when I started working with AI and generative models. I realized, that AI isn't just an add-on to cloud. It's redefining what's possible. But beyond the technology, what truly stands out for me, uh, and I actually believe that, right, is mentoring teams and seeing them grow.
Mhm.
The camaraderie that you get out of it is just unbelievable. And you understand that after some experience that you get, and helping others succeed and seeing them actually grow is one of the most rewarding parts of my journey.
Yeah, that's great. What does it look like to work as a senior solution specialist at Microsoft? And how does this role contribute to driving innovation and delivering value to clients?
Well, it's an exciting and fast-paced role that keeps me on my toes. At the core, it is about understanding the challenges, and there are a lot of challenges that businesses face today, right? And figuring out how cloud and AI can solve them, it's a huge boost. The Every day is different for me, and one day I will be designing a cloud strategy for a client, and on the next, I might be presenting a solution to senior executives. The best part is seeing technology create some real value for people, for organizations, for individuals. And this can be around optimizing costs, improving security, or enabling innovation. It's not just about selling cloud services. It is about long term relationships and ensuring organizations that ensuring that the organizations transform in a very good way. So this is all about it.
It must be really fun.
It is really fascinating.
So, what are critical consideration when creating secure and scalable cloud solutions?
Oh, so just to begin with, as a starting point, security and scalability are the two sides of the same coin. So you need both for a solution to work in the long term. So
Mm.
security isn't just an afterthought, it has to be baked in from the beginning. Things like identity management or encryption or zero trust architecture are must haves. One thing I would say is, on the scalable side of things, I always focus on designing solutions that can grow with businesses, and that can mean a lot of things for a lot of organizations, right? It can mean leveraging microservices or containerization, serverless computing, just to handle that demand fluctuation which comes with scaling businesses.
Mm.
And finally, I would say that resilience is the key. So that would encompass multi-region deployments or automated failovers and real-time monitoring. All these things ensure that the system stays up and it runs no matter what happens.
Okay, that's a great insight. So,
Thank you.
according to LinkedIn 2024 report, the demand for cloud related skills have grown by over 50% in the last 5 years. with cloud computing roles such as cloud architects, engineers, and developers among the top
Mhm.
10 in demands in globally.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to students and professionals aspiring to excel in cloud computing and AI roles?
So, a couple of things, right? The most important thing I would say is it's always changing, right? The world is constantly changing, and change is the truth of life. When I look back at my entire experience, I have seen a huge phase shift from where I began to where I am now. But then, just as an advice for people who are aspiring for a role in cloud computing and AI, I would say you begin with the fundamentals, understand how cloud platforms work. You can have certifications in Azure or Google Cloud or, for that matter, AWS, and that is going to really work for you. But most importantly, and I can't emphasize on this much, is the real world experience is what truly sets you apart. So, work on your personal projects, contribute to tech communities. Don't hesitate to get hands on with cloud and AI tools. Be very curious. Cloud computing and AI are evolving really, really fast. So, staying up to date and with the latest trends is really, really crucial. You never know what kind of a question will be asked tomorrow, and it's always good to be at the edge of it. And lastly, build a really strong network. Engage with people in the industry, join forums, attend meetups. These connections, all in all, will help you open doors that you never expected.
As being a student of cloud engineer myself, I want to
Mhm.
ask you that how AI is redefining cloud and digital transformation.
Wow, that's a great question, actually. Um, so, uh, just to put it in context, right? AI is actually taking cloud computing to the next level, and we read this, we hear about this quite a lot. Earlier, moving to cloud was mainly about cost savings and scalability, right? We have all been there. But now AI is adding intelligence to the mix, contextual intelligence to the mix. So, businesses can use AI powered analytics to make data driven decisions. They can automate workflows and even enhance customer experiences. Think about how AI driven chatbots are improving customer service, and how predictive maintenance is reducing the downtime in manufacturing. AI isn't just a tool, right? It's becoming the backbone of modern digital transformation. And as AI has become more advanced, we can see a lot of deeper integrations between AI and cloud platforms like Azure or Amazon or Google Cloud, you name it.
So, as a new generation, jobs seeks how skillful a person is. So, what skills and certification are crucial for aspiring cloud professionals?
Well, for an aspiring professional, right, and if you are just beginning to get into cloud, as I mentioned earlier, the first thing is that you need to have a solid understanding of what exactly cloud is, right? And that can be getting back to the fundamentals of networking, security, programming. Certifications like the solutions architect certifications from Azure, Google, Amazon, it won't hurt you. It will definitely give you some kind of credibility in this entire group of people. And once you are through with that, what's more important at that point is having some hands-on experience. So once you try to build something around a web app or create a data pipeline, try to get your hands dirty on AI services. All these things will actually create a strong foundation around cloud. And whilst you are doing all those things, right, one very important thing, and I would say this is the most integral part of consulting, when you're going in such roles, right? You have to interact with a lot of people, so your soft skills really, really matter. And I would want to emphasize on this, right? A good cloud professional isn't just technically strong, but also knows how to communicate and collaborate with others.
So, India has been working towards a national cloud computing policy that
Hmm.
focuses on accelerating the ecosystem within the country.
Hmm.
So, where do you see the future of AI and cloud computing heading in the next 5 10 years?
Hmm. That's a great question, actually. And if you think about it, we are moving towards a future where AI and cloud are, again, they are going to be the same. right? They are going to be inseparable. And edge computing is going to grow massively. AI models are going to run on devices rather than centralized cloud servers, and they will actually enable a real-time decision making. Well, we'll also see industry specific clouds, right? There will be solutions tailored to healthcare, finance, and other verticals. And sustainability is going to be a huge focus whilst all these things are happening, right? I would say green cloud computing. That's a terminology which is actually being used quite a lot, and that is going to be a priority for a lot of companies who are looking to reduce their carbon footprint. So when there's when all these things are happening, there's going to also be a lot of emphasis on quantum computing, which would again go ahead and it would change the way people look at cloud. It's going to really solve a lot of problems that even today's supercomputers can't really solve, right? They are struggling quite a lot. And whilst all these things are happening, it's going to be really fast paced, and I'm very very sure the next decade is going to be incredibly exciting.
That's a great insight about quantum computers and cloud. So, what's the most significant lesson you have learned from your extensive career in tech?
Wow. So one thing I would say is adaptability, right? That's
Mm,
one way of summarizing this thing. Technology is always changing, and it's always going to change really fast. And if you are not willing to keep learning, you are going to be left behind. But beyond that, I have learned that technology is not is it's only just as powerful as people who are actually working behind it. So the best solutions come from collaboration. You have to have empathy with others, and you should have a true understanding of the problem before you jump into a technical fix, right? And also on top of that, we think about it that we fail, we give some exams, we fail, we give some interviews, and quite a lot of them, honestly, and we fail. And that is not the end of the world, I would say. I would say failing is often the best teacher in all of this. And some of my biggest career growth moments have come from setbacks, and they have actually forced me to rethink what was my approach and how I can make it better.
AI raises questions about ethics, fairness, and privacy. For non-tech listeners, why it is important to think critically about how AI is used, even if they are not creating it. Like most of us are consumer of AI.
I would say AI, when I look at it, right, from being a consumer, it's a double-edged sword, right? The kind of information that I feed in into an AI system, and it can be any, right? It can be from Google, Amazon, or for that matter, DeepSeek, which is a huge hype today, right? So at the end of the day, it matters that how do I look at it now, and I'll actually elaborate on this, right? Today, security is prime. The information that my personal information, which I would rather keep away from all these systems. I don't want them to learn on my information so that they have those targeted ads and all those things, right? And that's
Mhm.
a huge concern. But what I would suggest and I would recommend is for if you are building a solution around AI, and if you're working with the biggest of the organizations, something like Microsoft Azure,
Mm.
there are certain baseline security foundations already in place where the data is not used against you for training our models and all that stuff, right? And also there's got to be some kind of a trust, right? So that trust only comes whilst you are working with an organization like Microsoft and some of the big organizations like Google or Amazon, right? And that again, there are different disclaimers when you open some kind of an application which is an AI application which is going to generate stuff for you. There are certain disclaimers, but you really don't know where that data is going, where it is residing, and all those things. So it becomes extremely important for us about what kind of data is being fed into that organization, whether into that system, right? Whether it's something very confidential. Is it going to impact me? Is it going to impact my customers, right? So all these things become really important. So for example, I'll give you this kind of a answer in context of Microsoft. So we have something called as Copilot, right, which is going to help you It's an AI system which is again going to generate stuff for you. And I'm actually tailoring this answer for people who are non-tech listeners, right? So it's going to generate a lot of stuff for you. It's going to search. It's going to deliver a lot of things which an AI assistant can. But then it's going to do that between the boundaries, within the boundaries of security. It's not going to train its models on your data. It's not going to, and also it's going to ensure that our models and most importantly, your data remains with you. It's not going to go anywhere else, or anybody else is going to make undue nobody is going to take undue advantage of the
Mm.
data that you're putting into that system, right? So all these things really matter. So my only submission at this point would be, if you're working with AI and if you're working with your crucial company data, which is really really important for you, I would say that it's always better to go with something like a Copilot, which is again, it can be anything, right? It can be Copilot or Gemini or something of that sort. But these systems will work within the boundaries. So you have to define what data is very essential, very crucial, and it shouldn't go beyond those fences that you are creating, those guardrails that you are creating. So that definition, if you have in place, I think a lot of your problems will be resolved. And then, if you want to create a birthday wish on WhatsApp, you can always do it on a normal chat GPT, which is just open for everybody, which is totally fine.
Any parting words for aspiring engineers and technology leaders?
Sure. So my parting words would be bold, be really bold, take a lot of risks, because this is, I would say, the growth phase for all of us. And
Mm.
don't wait until you feel ready to go after different opportunities. Just begin, just start. The tech world rewards those who are willing to step outside their comfort zone and who want to learn continuously. You should build meaningful relationships with people, because networking isn't just about finding jobs, and it's about growing together and building a community, right? And most importantly, always stay curious. Technology is evolving every single day, and the more you embrace that change, the more impact you will be able to create.
One thing is that like DeepSeek is open source, and
Yeah.
it can be downloaded. Its model can be downloaded and run on local machine also. Does it indicates that every person, like in future, that every person has his mini AI who is specialized to who is like I have my mini assistant AI which is only personalized, who has only my data and in my local computer, like no one can access it, and I can use it, I can train it. So is it possible, and are you seeing this in future?
Um. In today's context, Mohit, and I must have tried DeepSeek. It works phenomenally well. But then again, we have to step back and think about the data that we actually use for generating something through those models, right? So, for example, I'm just downloading DeepSeek, and I'm starting. I log into it and I start using it, right?
Mm.
The thing is that it's always, again, it being free for the public, it being free for the world, it's always going to use that data for training its models, and that's within the disclaimer. So if you look in the disclaimer of it, it's clearly going to it's clearly mentioning that, right? So you can just go back and you can check that. So
Mm.
we are going to train our models using your data. So now
Wow.
at the end of the day, it's on you what kind of data that you want to put into that system, whether it's going to be really impacting somebody, your organization, yourself. So again, I would in just to introspect through all of this, I would say that you cannot put something very outlandishly weird into it. You can't really do that, right? You need to be very specific about this being data that is just personal and not uh, going to impact you or anybody else. I mean, just creating birthday wishes or writing some kind of a write up, which is fine. Creating a story which you are going to share with your friends, that's totally fine. Images and videos, all those things are good. But then if you are thinking of putting some crucial organizational data or some data which is really really personal and you don't want it to be leaked, I would recommend and I would suggest that you still refrain from doing that, because you never know what are the repercussions of that. So whilst and if you think about it, right, this kind of a scenario was always there. It's not something new, right? This kind of a scenario was always there. But then, you know, my only submission over here would be that whilst it is a great system, and we are moving towards, as I told you, right, we are moving towards localized language models, localized things which are going to be installed inside your phone, rather than going back to the cloud and trying to find answers to your question. It's going to do all the computing within the small processing power of your phone, and it's going to deliver those outputs, and which is going to be phenomenally well. And that's where we are headed to. But then at that point of time, you have to think about the back doors. Who is going to snoop into that data? Who has got access to that data, and how it can basically be used against me? You can think about a fact that there are so many phishing attacks that are happening, right? There are so many
Yes.
intrusions from the security standpoint, and that can be extremely I mean, you have to be really delirious to actually go ahead and put your crucial data inside such systems, right? I mean, that would be really wild. But yeah, that's my summation. You need to have a bifurcation between what is doable, what is something that you should refrain from doing, and probably proceeding from that point would be really really great. I hope that just puts things into context.
Yeah. So my last question will be like, you mentioned that we should do some hands-on projects and like open source. If I search for some projects and in cloud, in basically in cloud, we have little resources for practical. Could you suggest some resources, or could you suggest that how we can build something, or how we can build like something which is not too small, which we can put on a resume also?
Okay. So, and I'm not trying to be philosophical over here, but then, there is something that I really believe and follow a lot is your biggest enemy and your biggest friend, both are your mind. You are just limited by the risks that you take or not take, right? So, no project is small, I would say, and I would, I would, I mean, I'm not trying to digress, but then, just thinking about this entire fact that we feel and we always have that doubt, that self doubt, that okay, what I'm doing, whether it's going to be in the bigger picture, is going to be really effective, really impactful. I feel that that's not how you should think, or that's not how anybody should think. Let me explain. For any kind of a project to work, there's got to be some kind of a business problem that you're going to solve out of it, right? There's going to be some kind of a problem, and here's the solution. Most importantly, you should have a defined problem, and the solution that you are creating should be something that actually makes life simpler for people's processes, right? So I would say, and I would actually encourage you and the rest of the folks who are watching this podcast, that go for it. There is no project which is small. And today we are living in a learner's paradise, I would say. I would call today's world as a learner's paradise. What I mean by that is, any information that you need is available in abundance, and all for free. You go on YouTube, you have so much of collateral over everything that you need, right? There is a video for almost everything that you need in your work or in your personal life, right? That's one thing. uh, but secondly, there are other resources also, right? Maybe LinkedIn Learning, I would say, or there is Coursera, there is Udemy. Right? There are so many different ways of gathering that data that you actually need for delivering or solving the business problem that you wanted to solve. So at this point of time, and in this entirety, I would say is that we are living in a learner's paradise. All the information is available. All you need is just having a computer and having an internet connection, and the rest is pretty much sorted. The only thing that might be stopping us, and a couple of them, would be our curiosity, and second is maybe our mental block, saying that whether this is going to be impactful or not. I would say go for it.
Okay. Thank you. That's great advice. And thank you, Aditya. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing such valuable insights. Thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.